Hey, what's up, everybody? Not in my normal studio. I have not been abducted. I'm not in a closet. I'm actually in a brand new office here in Troy, Michigan. And I am super excited about what is going on with the House of Bricks, with Startup X. And of course, we just got our new swag, brick by brick, trademarked. I even saw a pair of Michael Jordan's shoes, some Air Jordans. Now he's saying brick by brick. And I know he took that from me. I sent MJ a little letter, cease and desist, but I said I'm open to a partnership if he wants to do that. He hasn't texted me back, of course. But listen, great day here. Just, again, a lot of big things. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you've seen this new thing that I'm talking about. What the truck? Well, I don't post any of my cars or anything personal. Try to, I just want to be me. It's not what I own, it's who I am. But I did post that I do have a Ford Raptor, Black Ops Tuscany, and I've had it for a couple of years, and came to this moment Saturday where I was like, why do I drive a truck living in Birmingham, Michigan? It just doesn't make any sense. I bought it when I was in South Dakota. Made more sense there, but I don't need it. And as you know, I have a huge passion for veterans. One of the most influential people in my life was my grandfather, and he flew 52 successful missions in World War II. And he always had a positive attitude. He always said, it's another beautiful day. And, we know growing up in the Great Depression, serving in World War II, it was oftentimes not a beautiful day, but that was his mindset. And it just made a huge impact in my life. He always believed in me. He said, watch out for Adam. He's a sleeper. And yes, I was a late bloomer, but it was through that resistance that built my work ethic and character and resilience. And so it made me who I am today, and that confidence. And so I've always wanted to find a way to honor him and recognize him, and not just him, but all of our veterans. Because every day we wake up, we're safe. We live in the greatest country in the world. And a lot of us take it for granted. In fact, I was taking my son golfing Saturday, hopped out of the truck, and everywhere I go, people are like, that's an awesome truck. I've never gotten so many compliments on a car. And I told the guy what I was doing. It's just fresh out of my idea box, and was fired up about it. And the guy just started to tear up a little bit. And I was like, man, are you okay? And he's like, I'm a veteran and I feel forgotten every day. And I was just like, this is it. This is what I am doing. So literally in the last 5 days, came up with this idea. We're flying in one of our House of Bricks community members, Josh Kent. He's a veteran, served 14 tours in Iraq, or did 14 tours in Iraq, and just a great human being as well. So he is flying up here next Friday, and I am going to give him the truck to use for 3 months. And there's more to come. I don't want to get into all the details there, but we are going to drop the full story on July 4th, because What the Truck will be born on the 4th of July. So just so many cool things. I've always wanted to serve veterans, haven't had a direct connection, but met great people over the last year. And I want to bring someone on today because we are officially launching our Substack newsletter. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, last year, we ran a program called Startup X, and we took 10 companies through it. And from beginning to end, I was like a proud father by the end, because the improvement in their pitch, their business plan, their strategy, being successful isn't an epiphany. It's just doing consistently the same things, the right things consistently over time. And that makes that compound effect impact. We helped 2 of those companies close funding rounds out of that program. And I wondered, what am I going to do with this course? I tried putting it on LinkedIn, built it in Learn Worlds, and then we got introduced to Substack, and we started building that newsletter. And I'm a little biased, but this course is damn good. Okay. I didn't read it in a book. This is 30 years of being an entrepreneur. I'm 47. That hit me this morning. I'm almost 50. I've been doing this more than half my life. And not just for me, but over the last 12 months, I probably talked to 600 founders. So everything in that course is applicable to business, and it's a short path, not a short path. There's no short path to success, but there's a lot of failures that I'm able to teach from in there. So I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't have the perfect blueprint. In fact, a lot of times people ask me, Adam, how do you do what you do? And I really have no idea. I just test, I fail, I learn, I grow. I do it every day. It's a flywheel consistently, and I just build momentum. If it works, I build on it. If I fail, I learn, and that's how I grow. So as you know, if you've been, following me or know who I am, like I have really since I was 20 years old. And this is another thing my grandfather imparted in me. He grew up 10 kids, was raised on welfare by a single mom. His dad passed away, he was 10. He always taught me to appreciate everything that I have and always know that the more you give, the more you will receive back. And he didn't have a lot to give financially, but he gave a lot of who he was. He didn't just serve in the military. He was also a postman, a fireman. So he just liked to serve and protect other people. I'm an alpha guy. I love to protect my family, my kids, my team members, my community. So don't mess with anyone in the House of Bricks or in my house, because it's not going to be a good outcome for you. So anyway, one of our, very giving person, and that's one of the pillars and bricks in the House of Bricks. And so what do I want to do in our first newsletter? Well, I got connected to a veteran organization and the founder earlier this year on LinkedIn, of course, and we've just built a relationship. I didn't know what was there. I tried to help him with certain things. He's tried to help me with certain things. And I was just like, boom, we should feature a nonprofit in our first newsletter. And I want to bring the founder on. His name is Evan Guzman. All of my interactions with him have been super high level. There's a lot of veteran organizations out there. Some are doing really great work. Some need a lot of room for improvement. But my confidence in Evan and what he is doing with Post Veterati is not just going to be successful from a business standpoint, but the impact that he is going to make, because I know there are many veterans out there that are way more qualified than the people like me sitting behind desks. It's just, how do they transition those skills from the battlefield to the boardroom? And, once you, leave the military, it's like those first 40, 50, 60 days, you could be dangerous to yourself. You could be dangerous to those around you. And you need your tribe. Like, you had your guys with you, you had your unit, and then you leave and you become, enter into civilian life. Like, who's really there for you? And like the guy I met in the parking lot, like, I feel forgotten every day. I was like, that messed me up. I had a tough time on the first two holes, even like focusing. And so I knew I was onto something. I know it's just the beginning of something great. So Evan, why don't you hop on and let's learn more about Post Veterati.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it. All I have to say is I'm very picky with organizations that I work with and who I choose to engage with. When I saw your program, I was like, when we talk about the entrepreneurship side of things that Post Veterati supports, I really saw some good synergy there, and I definitely look forward to continuing. And thanks for supporting us, because as you know, Post Veterati is right now in soft launch mode. We want to make sure we get this right for our military community, but I can tell you that there's nothing like it out there. It's actually essentially a platform that connects transitioning service members with industry insiders, right? And these are people that have expertise who just are volunteering their time, and time is money, right? So for these folks to do it, we give them a pathway to do it more efficiently. All digital, right? Everything is automated, from automated scheduling, automated calls. It could be a Zoom, it could be a consult, a regular phone call. So what we're looking to do is really just advance and accelerate transition success by simply connecting service members to a grateful nation, people who want to say more than thank you for your service. It's sort of like, hey, they answered the call And now we're going to answer theirs when they come home. If they've got questions related to employment, education, or entrepreneurship, what we're discovering, as you said it, Adam, about that feeling of isolation. We do get a lot of that in terms of feedback to say, I felt I was alone doing this on my own. But when I spoke to this person who transitioned, who was in my same unit, now working for this big corporation, I then began to feel a lot better, knowing I wasn't alone. So this is what I believe the Post Veterati does, is helping transitioning service members, financiers, by connecting them with industry professionals who already is a warm lead for them because they've already volunteered to do it, and they just open up their schedule and then they get booked. So my hope is that when we're ready to launch, that we can share more details in terms of the features, what it does. But I can tell you this, we're going to be tracking hours. We're also going to be tracking people's not only time, but money, because there are a lot of industry experts out there that have an estimated hourly rate, right? That's out there. So if you took your annual and turn it into an hourly rate, if you times about how many hours, you now can track the hours of conversations, how much economic impact you've made, because people just want to feel good, because, not everyone wants to give financially towards causes. Some of them want to get into it. And I believe this is what Post Veterati will do. And we're excited to be launching, I think, in the next 4 to 5 days, because the soft launch is proceeding, and we're getting little feedback. But we're looking to really kind of get it out there.
Well, I know Paul from my team, also a veteran. If he could add himself to the stage if he wanted to, but he won't. But he loves your idea of soft launch. Like for me, I'm like, Paul, I got this idea. Can we launch it tomorrow? And I want to go more. So the soft launch thing, don't give Paul any ideas that's how you should do things. Everything should be 100 miles an hour. But listen, you said a lot there. Take us, into the mind of a veteran, right? When they are making that transition, like what are some of the things that they think about? What are the challenges they have? And how are you really helping solve that? How do they even find out,
Yeah. So, initially during the transition process, which all veterans have to go through, they were told to do 2 things. Get a LinkedIn profile, set it up, and then connect with a mentor on Veterati, when it was Veterati.
Okay.
So we knew we hit a nerve, we struck a nerve in terms of accelerating, and now we're going to make an even bigger impact, because the feedback has been I was an engineer in the Army. I don't know if that's what I want to do when I get to the private sector. That's what they think. But then once they experience what the challenges are in a very competitive jobs market, they start to rethink. And then they start to work from what I call working from strength, meaning you have these set of skills, it's in demand. I would consider something like that first to keep, the income and continuity of sort of revenue coming in before you make a hard decision to just pursue a whole different career. So on the platform, we've had thousands of conversations that are specific to what's the best industry to get into, what resources should I be looking for, what types of industry should I be exploring based on my military background. And that's what these conversations are about. It gives people, them a little bit more to think about. We've had many that never even thought about working for a not-for-profit, right? I once spoke to a guy who was a drone operator, right? And when he was transitioning out, he just wanted to do marketing, but he had no experience. And so I said, listen, I'm not saying you can't pursue it, but even with an MBA in marketing, you're going to be hitting a very competitive market, a very landscape from a jobs perspective. So I said, how about this? How about you think about it? I said, Boeing hires people like you outside of the military. Then he started to explore. And then he found an opportunity where not only his expertise in drone operating, it was also that he wanted to do marketing. So he was able to find somewhere in between within an industry that would value his skill sets, even though he may not have had the marketing experience, but he did have the drone and capabilities of articulating these products and be able to turn it into a sales and marketing. So, and he hadn't even thought about that. He just thought he was just going to go anywhere with marketing. And my advice is always what I've learned is don't start anew and forget about your military background and your experience. If anything, I would be talking about it in a way that's more casual. Yeah. So what did you do in the military? Well, I was responsible for about $20 million of equipment, the safety of my team, things like that, things that people in business understand. Because we know $20 million of operating equipment, but it wasn't even that. It was securing the perimeter. It was also maintenance of this diesel, engine. So they cut themselves short. And sometimes they have to be reminded that, hey, listen, you did all this. I remember speaking to a cook who said, what can I do outside culinary? And I said, well, let's look at your background. It turns out he was really handy working with generators, right? And that's a skill set, diesel generators. And when he transitioned out, I connected him with organizations like John Deere and a couple of Caterpillar who were looking for people with that expertise. He didn't even think about it because his, military occupation was cook or something. And he wasn't interested in culinary. So this is what these conversations do. It makes you second guess. It makes you sort of deal with your own self-doubts about what you think you bring to the table. And it just takes someone to say, first of all, I appreciate what you did. Second, you've got some really good compatible skill sets that I think. But the turnaround is mentors are learning more about our military community because of this platform. Because I didn't know Adam had this background in this. I didn't know that Marines did this or that the Army had this whole thing. And they're walking away with like, wow, I didn't know this. And now they want to help them even more. 97% of mentors who sign up the first time will sign up for a second one immediately right after the first. So we know this can make an impact.
So are the mentors veterans also, or could it be anybody?
It's anybody. So typically, a lot of the mentees become mentors, right? So that's what we have out there right now. But it is civilians who either support the military connected community or companies that want to support the military and say, hey, we're going to have our veteran team talk about our industry. So we sign them up. So it's really anyone and everyone. So as long as you have a background in some industry with some experience, you can become a mentor. Because at the end of the day, it's just a conversation.
Yeah, no. And so lots to unpack there, just kind of breaking it up and what stood out to me. You're absolutely right. Like the ability to talk about your responsibilities without using military jargon, like running a $20 million budget, that's a big thing in business, right? Managing a team, leadership, accountability, discipline, all of those things, you're getting that with a veteran, like hands down. And that's one of the biggest challenges in business is people like that can even hold themselves accountable or even know how to hold others to it. So that's a big differentiating factor.
Yeah.
I went through the same thing with startup businesses. I'm like, tell them, what's your business? They're like, oh, we have this software, this, like, but what's the outcome? What's the problem you're solving?
Yeah.
And we would help them with their pitch. And that's what I was saying with that Startup X program. It's just practice. It's just reps. It's getting someone to ask you questions. It's like public speaking. You just have to get reps doing it. They've never told their story in a civilian way typically, or know how to package the things that they've done. Another guy in our community, Taylor Farrell, he was in the Air Force. He's like, yeah, I was running a small budget. It was like, $500 million or whatever. I was like, dude, $500 million. So, just being able to, manage and like you said, this is expensive equipment. It's not pens and pencils and paper. These are $20 million machines. So that comes with a lot of responsibility. They're also in typically a lot of high pressure situations, right? So being able to think under pressure. One skill that's very hard to find in business also is like strategic thinkers and problem solvers too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very common, obviously based, where you are in the military, but the ability to solve problems, self-accountability, those are all super important. I'm afraid to say this, but if you do need a mentor, I could probably, I would give my time, even if you wanted to use me, if you can help these guys in whatever way. Because really, I say this all the time, we're all just one conversation away from changing the rest of their life, right? You really can. So meeting someone at the right time, in the right place, they make the right introduction, boom, you got a job or you got funding. for your business, whatever it is. So what you're doing is really great. What else? What's kind of your big vision for this? Say 3 years from now, everything goes how it should, which it won't, but let's just assume it does. Where do you see this 3 years from now? What's the big vision?
So, well, actually, it's funny because we have a very specific product roadmap. Once we launch, we're just going to keep investing any revenue we generate through sponsorships back into the platform. But to your point, where someone like you comes with this high level experience, one thing I didn't mention is that our platform has strong capabilities from an algorithmic perspective to match mentors at your level with transitioning service members at the same level. So this way you're not kind of unbalanced where you have too much experience speaking to someone who's going to be overwhelmed by it. So we're very careful to that. So I see within the next iteration of next steps within the 3 years is where AI will play a key role in our platform to match the right mentees and the mentors almost organically, just based on common interests, beyond just the skill sets, but also personality types and things like that. So that's the goal, to leverage it. But we first need the users and the feedback to be a part of this platform so we can feed right into it. So that's what I would think the biggest thing. Our objective is to turn connections into conversations, right? Okay. So what's the point of having connections if no one's talking and networking? And I think this is going to revolutionize even outside of the military. To me, this is a competitive advantage for the military that doesn't exist out there for civilians. But in time, we can create an instance of this where we have very specific individuals like your program, right, that go through your program now have access to connect with already vetted industry experts who they can now continue the conversation moving forward. So we hope to be a resource to help continue that dialogue and foster more human-to-human connections, more peer-to-peer discussions, all digitally.
I love that. And so what is the funding status now? And listen, anyone listening, Post Veterati is a nonprofit. Evan's not going to ask you to donate. I'm going to tell you to donate because, and it's not just, again, he's building a business, right? He's making an impact. It's an actual business model. It's not like dropping a couple quarters in the offering bucket at church. Like, this is a business that's going to grow, and you should give money at church. I'm not telling you not to, but listen, I really, again, we've only known each other probably 6 months, handful of conversations. And I chose Evan and Post Veterati because I believe in what they're doing. And I've spent a lot of money, just like Evan said, he's careful in who he partners with. I've invested 2 years of my life into the House of Bricks, and it's 30 years of business in the making that's really got me here. So I'm putting my name on it, my brand, my community, and I really want to get behind this. So I never really ask people for anything. So I'm not going to ask him and tell you guys, you really should get behind this. Follow Evan on LinkedIn, engage with his content, share his content, because I won't tell the name of the store, but I went to a store yesterday and I told him what we were doing with the Raptor, and we were getting, new tires put on it. And I was like, hey, this is what we're doing for veterans. He's like, well, we only give like a 5% discount to veterans. I said, great. I'm going to call him and only tell him to protect our country 5% of the time. So, the guy was he just kind of looked at me. I said, no, it's fine. Yeah, just take 5% off. I'm going to call him right now. He'll take 95% of his time off, and only protect. So, I mean, we're just, we're nickel and diming to help the people that protect us every day. It's nonsense. It's got to stop. We need to really get behind this, Evan, Post Veterati. Again, it's a real business, connecting people, having those conversations, because we all know the most valuable capital in the world is relationship capital. Like, right. One thing people say, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Well, I'm never in the wrong room. Okay. Unless I'm alone, then I'm the smartest person. I always put myself around smart people, great relationships. I'm not a smart guy. I just know a lot of people. I believe in relationship capital, and it's just the story of my life. Always meeting the right person at the right time, just like meeting Evan here with Post Veterati. So for people that want to get behind you, Evan, what do they do? How do they get connected? How do they give? What should they give?
Yeah. So look, I'm in the telling game versus the selling game. I hope that through the stories and what we're doing, that people just want to give because they support that mission. I believe that's the greatest sales pitch ever. And maybe you'll sprinkle a little FOMO along the way. But what I would say is to follow Post Veterati on the page, LinkedIn. This is where we're going to start to communicate and announce specific, launch dates, but really more about collecting feedback and making sure that we are engaging at every level across all industries. So if you work in any industry, we want you to sign up and make yourself available for connecting with a transitioning service member or military spouse. If you wish to give, well, there's going to be an opportunity to do so. But right now, we're really heavily focused, and our angel investor said, let's not worry about getting the money now. Let's get this platform, make it right. We'll put it out there, and then we'll, kind of get back and start engaging with partners like Adam and, House of Bricks to help us figure out what could be the next steps. The objective here was never to monetize it, but it needs to be sustained as a business because it's not cheap to make it free for everyone to have conversations and videos. We have developers, we have people we have to kind of support, but that's where every dollar we help get from a sponsorship or donation, from giving is going to go towards. This is not about money. This is about continually improving this platform to ensure that our military connected community who's used to working with the latest and most advanced technology, an opportunity to leverage something similar in the transition out of the military.
So you're right. It's not about money, but you need money to run businesses, right?
Yep.
So, the more people can get behind you, the better the technology is, right? You're not just making a website where people go on. Like there's real technology. It sounds like there's logic, how people get connected, right? And these are not easy problems to solve. And so, more funding, more awareness, as people give, tell someone else. One of the easiest things to do is share something on social media, right? It's just like, all you have to do is share it. So anyone that's watching this, just click and share. You never know who in your network may be a veteran. They may even reach out to you and say, hey, thanks for sharing this. Because then guess what? They don't feel forgotten today.
That's right.
Someone shared a post. So it's that easy. It's not about the money. It's about the impact. And then, if people want to support, I'm sure, again, follow Post Veterati, follow Evan on LinkedIn. I'll be sharing his content. I've already done it. We're doing it, in this newsletter. So I'm really excited about this newsletter we're launching for the House of Bricks. Like one of the most difficult things you can do in life is try to build your personal brand. And I'm telling you, this has been the toughest 2 years of my life trying to build this. And no matter how much success you've had, there's always somewhere more successful. So like, why would someone listen to Adam House when they could just go listen to like Elon Musk or Bill Gates? It's just, you have all these self-limiting beliefs that you deal with, but I've never been after the masses. It's about the one person that needs to hear me today. That's why I do this. I get on, maybe there's one veteran out there that's listening to you and I, and they're like, holy cow, someone cares. Or the guy I met in the parking lot, or someone sees Josh driving this truck with brick by brick on it. And my grandfather's plane name was I'll Get By. We're going to put that on it. So it's going to be, just an awesome mission that we're doing. And we're really happy to partner with you. And because I'm moving offices, you actually have this right here. It goes everywhere I go.
Very nice.
So, that's my grandfather and his unit and the plane. So,
very nice.
Says I'll Get By right there. So, it's, you never know what impact you can make in someone's life. He didn't have a lot of money, wasn't a flashy guy, right? Just served our country, delivered people's mail every day, was a fireman. And here I am, at 47 years old, still talking about the impact he had on me, when I was 5-10 years old. So, it's just really important to, teach people to serve our country, to honor others. And we hope to create a lot of recognition here leading up to the 4th of July. Again, just recognizing our country. So as we wrap up here, anything else we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. And, we'll get more, hopefully we can share more of the details on the sophisticated platform that we're building, because I think people will be really impressed with what we're doing. And, to all those entrepreneurs out there and people that are starting things new and trying to figure out, a friend gave me an interesting quote, very simple. She said, new is hard, right? It's never easy. And so she keeps that in mind, and she shared it. And she says it a lot. And now it's stuck with me. And it's true, because when we built this platform brand new from the bottom up, we hit a lot of snags and all the challenges. It would have been so much easier just to say, you know what, I don't need this aggravation. But when you think about the impact it's made, I just want people to know that you can make an impact. You can serve your community by simply speaking to a transitioning service member, and just have a conversation. And that's it. And that's what America's about. We're very giving, and this is a great way to give without, but it's a different type of give. It's the give that makes you feel good, so I hope people.
Well, to me, it's the opportunity to give and have it 10X, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
This thing's going to go through the roof with what you're building. So you give today, whatever, or get behind this. I mean, 50,000 could be 500,000 in 3 years because of what you're building and the growth plan and the impact. So, well, I want to thank you again for joining. When I'm in New York, we'll definitely have to connect. My dates have moved again, but I will keep you up to date. I am going to get out there sometime, probably in June or early July. So love to connect with you, meet in person. And I just want to thank you for everything you're doing, not just with Post Veterati, but all the things you're doing for veterans here in our great country.
Appreciate it. And thank you for that, Adam and Paul. Thank you so much for your continued support. And I look forward to the phase 2 once we get past this, because I do want to share a little bit more about the platform itself and how I think it's going to be a game changer when it comes to networking.
Looking forward to it. Well, everyone that's watching too, please subscribe to our Substack newsletter. There's 30 years of blood, sweat, and tears for me that'll be pouring out in there, and access to our Startup X course, which wherever you are in business, I mean, these are solid disciplines that if you follow them, you will be successful. Unfortunately, most people don't have the consistency, discipline, and accountability to get through the course. So, or any course or any business. That's why 9 out of 10 startups fail. Like you just said, starting something new is hard. Starting a business is difficult. And so appreciate everybody joining. Check out the newsletter. Check out Evan on LinkedIn and follow Post Veterati. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Thanks, Evan.
All right. Take care. Bye.